Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys an update of how my plants have transitioned outside. For the most part, they are doing really well. As you can see, just giving you an overview. So I'm gonna go into what plants I have outside, how they're growing, which ones are growing the best, if I had any casualties, and what any changes I made to any of the plants. So let's get started. So as you can see, I mostly have ficus out here. I have almost all my Hoyas actually. I have a couple ferns. I have my Monsteras, a couple philodendrons, the peace lily. I have my Caudex plants, and then over here I have the snake plants, the light snake plants, money trees, and Syngoniums. Alright, so basically what plants are doing the best out here are the ficus and the Hoyas. They really love the hot temperatures. It has been really hot out here. It's either been really hot or it's been thunderstorming. And so what I did this year, I did it a little bit different, moving my plants out here. I basically waited until nighttime to move my plants outside, and then I also waited until there was a week of cloudy weather, and so that way my plants could acclimate a lot better. I do recommend that you acclimate your plants, whether you move them out at night or you move them during the week where it's very cloudy out, or you move them into the shade and then move them out into brighter areas. This area tends to be shadier, so I tend to start my plants here and then move them out. This area tends to be more highlight. That's why I have more of the ficus and the Hoyas. And then this area tends to be a little bit more highlight, and that's where I get a lot of rain as well. So that's why I put my ferns there and the Caudex plant. So that's just the overview of that. But let's get into some updates. So here are my ficus. As you can see, the Taneki has gotten a lot of light, that really pink leaf. I accidentally broke the tip off, which I was kind of like bummed and devastated. It hit the top of the door when I was moving it out. But yeah, that's what that one looks like. We're getting plenty of growth on the Taneki. Oh, I also had to repot all of my rubber trees. They were severely pot bound. This is the pot that the Taneki was in, and it was so light that it kept falling over every time it was windy, and you can see it cracked the pot. So now I have put it in this pot. I am also moving my bigger plants into plastic pots, just so they're easier for me to move and not so heavy. But here's my Ficus Audrey. This one was not growing inside, and as you can see, it's put on all these leaves. The Ruby was also pot bound. There's the green rubber tree. This one's the only one that's not putting on a lot of growth, but that's okay. The real winner of this summer is the altissima, which during the winter had dropped all of its leaves. I think I only had 2 leaves on each stem left. And as you can see, it has flushed out a ton of leaves. Not only that, but they're huge and glossy. I have the burgundy. And then I have my little Ayana down here, which is also doing well. And then as for the Hoyas, you can see that they're putting on tons of growth. This is a newer one that I found at Lowe's that was not waterlogged, that I did not have to completely chop up. I did just water this one, so it's looking really good. And then my compactus have been putting on so much growth. As you can see, this knuckle has just been growing. Like, all this is new. You can see that it's growing in here, and then it's put out this knuckle here. This knuckle or branch is growing at the bottom. This one's growing, and then that one's growing too. but the compactus have been growing a ton, especially my variegated one. You can see that the dark pinks are the newest growths, and that little white piece as well. You can see that piece is new, but my compactus have been putting on a ton of growth. The Crimson Queen is growing. You can see those new glossy leaves. This is the one that I got from Bros with Hose, and this is the Snowball variety, Crimson Queen. I got this one from the plant farm, and at first when I unboxed this one, I was kind of disappointed that it had all these like white leaves, but they're holding pretty they're holding pretty steadily, and you can see they're really getting a lot of light with the pink leaves coming out. But that one's doing well. They're all trailing. Now the real surprise was this one, and if you guys watched my haul, you saw that this was the one that was sent to me in really terrible condition. I ended up getting a refund on, but it's putting out all this growth. You can see that. But that one's actually looking really good. And then if we move back here, my fungi is the one that really flushed out a lot of growth. All these leaves are new. You can see the light ones. These are all new. These are all new. And it was putting out so much growth that I had to trellis it. But all these leaves are new. And they're looking so good. They did get a little crispy on some of them, but the plant is still doing pretty well. And it's putting out a little bit of splash. But these are just some really pretty leaves. Look at that splash. But yeah, I had to put that one on the trellis. I usually don't like plants on trellises, just like because I already have so many plants staked, but this one just looks really nice on a trellis. Then we have the obovata, which I just propagated, but I showed you guys the growth on that one. It's got these new leaves, these leaves here. These are new leaves, which actually I like these because they're more round. But this one's growing really well. Then I have the big philodendron, which I'm happy that it's coming back. See that beautiful leaf? It's been growing a ton. These are all new leaves. This one's still unfurling. And then I put my Monstera out here. I just put this one out here, so it hasn't been out here that long. I think it's only been out here for like 3 days. And I also repotted that one. It was severely root bound. I actually broke a couple of roots, which I was like, oh, but I think it'll be okay. I'm actually thinking about air laying this one somewhere in here. Here's my fern that was doing so-so in the house. I think he was trying to bounce back from being over-fertilized. Here's some other. This is my philodendron biliaceae. So my philodendron's the worst actually, and it's because it's been so hot and sunny. So I completely chopped back my burl marks. So I have the green and I have the variegated one. I separated them because the green was taking over and I just did not like how the burl marks was looking. I love the burl marks for how well it grows and how bushy it grows, but sometimes it just has the weirdest growth pattern and I just find myself chopping it back completely every now and then. But yeah, my philodendrons did not do well out here, so most of them I moved back in. Most of them I have been chopping up and starting over. This one I'm thinking about also chopping up, but I'm kind of thinking about that. So, but back to the Hoyas. This is the Pubicalix Splash. Just got that one. So I broke up my linearis that I showed you guys, and I'm trying to grow one outside and one inside to see which one it does better, because this is a cool growing Hoya, but I've seen that a couple people do grow it outside, so I just wanted to do an experiment. And here's my two Bertoniers. This is the only Hoya that is not growing for me, and I don't know. I also don't like the way it has sun stressed. I wish I had left it more in the shade because I do not like how it looks now. This one is my favorite. I love the texture. It just feels so great. It's putting out tons of leaves, as you can see there. But this is just such a nice Hoya. I have the Chronion Silver, which at first was not growing, and then it shot out like all these growth points. There's some that are really like deep in there, but that one's really growing too. The Ayana is doing pretty well. I got these two leaves and then these two pink ones. You guys know that my Matilde was doing well. It's put out this whole cluster, and it's got two more leaves and then some more at the top. And then this one is growing as well, but you can't see the growth points really. But that one's doing well. And then we have the Velosa, which is growing really well. I wish it was growing like the fungi, but it's okay. It's got all these growth points that have been activating, as you guys can see that. So I think it's gonna start speeding up very soon. I also showed you guys this ladybug, but I think I killed it when I fertilized this one. I poured fertilizer water in there and it didn't want to move, and so now I'm not sure if it's dead or not. And then we have the Carnosa Freckles, which is putting out little growth points. You can see that. So this one will start growing soon. This one was still rooting because when I first got it, it barely had any roots. So all this time it was growing roots, and now it's finally putting on growth. And then, let me move this. We have the Rotunda Flora, which is putting out baby leaves. This one definitely likes the warmth and humidity. You can see that growth point there. But that one's doing well. The rooted plant is doing a lot better than this cutting here. But yeah, those are the Hoyas. You can see that they have done the best out here. And then moving on, we just have my Monstera. I did some cuttings on this Monstera just to clean it up a bit. So I think it looks a lot better. I also repotted it because it was very root bound. And then my peace lilies doing well. This is what happened when it first came out here. It got a little stunted, but you can see that it's putting out a new leaf. And then we have this huge bloom. My Australia tree fern has bounced back so nice. I just really love this plant. I had to put this one in a bigger pot, and I basically like cut back on the perlite in this one because I have to water this one quite often. But this one is looking so good, and I'm glad it is bouncing back. I have my staghorn ferns, which are doing well. They need to be repotted, but I'm trying to decide. I'm waiting for the Vanda baskets to come back in stock, so that's why they're still in their pots. And then coming down here, we have the Caudex plants. You can see the one that's doing the best is my Syngonium. I hope this is clear. There we go. That one's just growing like a champ. I actually have to keep these pretty moist so they don't dry out. This is the why is it leaving my brain? This is the Nova, the Erectus Nova. It'll come to me. And then we have the Philanthus mirabilis, which is finally putting on a good amount of leaves. And I reordered another Dioscorea elephantippes because my other one did not do well. It was so dry. But this one, I just got this one, so hopefully it grows well for me. And then we have the ones over here. Oh, this is my Stephania Nova, that's what it is. These are my other Stephanias. This one's finally starting to sprout. So hopefully it'll start growing soon, and then once it sprouts a little bit more, I'll start watering it, because you don't want to really start watering it before they start sprouting. Alright. And then over here with my Syngoniums, all my Syngoniums, well, these two were pot bound, so I repotted both of them. This one has put out like 3 new leaves since repotting it. You see this new leaf here. I think this one's going to be really light. And then this is the Mojito. I kind of broke the tip off of this one, so that's why you see all these like growth points that are activated. But this one's doing a lot better. I wish it would stop putting out these weird leaves, but it's better than nothing. And then my money tree got burnt. You can see these new leaves that it's putting out are really beautiful. I don't know why I don't learn my lesson with the money tree, that it does kind of brown out here, but I don't know. I keep putting out here anyway, and yeah. But you can see that it's putting out new growth, so it'll be okay. And then the big Albo has put out tons of leaves. You can see that. Those leaves, they're putting out whiter leaves. That's looking good. This is looking good. Some of these are those cuttings that I took forever to repot. I think I've had them in the water for a year, so that's why they just like kind of died. Plus they had a lot of white on them, but they're definitely rooted in there. And I don't want to, I'm just going to cut them off, because you can see that the new growth is still on there. But this one's doing really well, and I'm getting good marbling. And then I just have my snake plants out here, just trying to give them a little bit more light. You can see Sage is sunbathing. And then I have my trouble child, that if it doesn't get its act together by the end of the summer, it will be leaving my household. But it's putting out a couple new leaves. And up here, I normally put my Hoyas up here, the little ones, but it's been like raining so much that I took them down so they didn't get overwatered, but that's where I was putting them. But yeah, that is the overview of putting my plants outside. They are doing pretty good for the most part. Like I said, the Hoyas and my rubber trees are doing the best. And then I have a couple other ones that are doing pretty good. I just wanted to give you guys this update so that way you can see how my plants are looking. I don't have them, styled or anything, because with watering and making sure that they don't get rained on, I do move them quite a bit. You can see the ones I want to trail, I have to, put them on risers a little bit, just so they're not like sitting in water, or when they're growing out, they're not touching the bottom. But I'll have to do the same to my my Crimson Queens, because you see they're starting to trail as well. But yeah, I'm really enjoying my plants outside. I think I'm going to be purchasing more of the plants that I can keep outside, just because they're doing so well. But yeah, this is what my collection is looking like, and we will do more growth updates. But as always, I just want to thank you guys so much for liking my videos, commenting, and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.